Please welcome to the stage, Vincent.
Hi, thank you to the organizers for this event, for having me, and to all of you being here. Before starting, who have the opportunity here to use API platform in a proof of concept or in a production application? Cool. This talk is here for this too. So let's see together how API platform can help us to make API, REST APIs or GraphQL APIs. API platform have 11 years old. It has been released by Kevin Douglas in 2015, the first time for the first commit. Behind this, it's a huge community as an open source project, fully open source. More than 40,000 GitHub stars. More than 900 contributors for the whole components and the documentation. A support for the two main PHP frameworks, which are Laravel and Symfony. For the maintenance of the framework and the whole components, API platform follows semantic versioning. So you know in advance using the version number if some features will be removed and so on. API platform follow the Symfony ABC break policy for the same reasons. Sorry for that. And three versions are maintained in parallel. So currently you have the 4.2 stable version with new features out of the box. Also the 4.1 versions is maintained and including securities fixes. And a dev branch, the main branch, is here for the 4.3 version, and the 4.3 version is in beta since 2 weeks. Let's see now with a quick demo how we can illustrate how it's easy to create an API with API platform. Here, with the Symfony CLI, we're creating an empty project. Then we go to the folder of this project and we install API platform using the API Symfony Flex alias. And then we edit the .env config file to switch from a PostgreSQL database to a SQLite database to be faster for our demo. Then using the Symfony console, we create a book entity with the API resource flag, which is important here because it's automatically adds API resource attribute on our entity class. Then we add a title, a property of type string, and we make a migration to have these changes on our database. And then we run the database changes and say yes, because it's not risky for us. And then we run a Symfony local web server, and the default documentation is /API/docs, and we have out of the box a full documented API documentations and with all HTTP methods, get, post, put, etc. We saw just before that we have nothing in our database, so no books. But here we use the post operation to make one John book, and we see the curl and HTTP status code here and the request body. Then if we go to our get collections book resources, again, we see 2 books now. So it's working, and we will see just after that our code can be edited, and the documentation is automatically updated too. Before see that together, my name is Vincent Amstoutz. I'm lead developer at Letiel.coop. We are known for API platform, FrankenPHP, and because we have Symfony and PHP core contributors. I make open source contribution to API platform, FrankenPHP, Symfony, and more. We can also help you in your project. We are mainly consultants, so if you need some help on your project in PHP, JavaScript, Go, Rust, or C, we are here for that. What API platform provides to us to make our APIs? The following example are for Symfony applications, but these features are also available for API platform with Laravel. So you can imagine how it's work. Before a quick theoric part about API platform, we have integrated standards in API platform by following RFCs and web standards. So, for example, for the documentation, it's the Open API specifications, which is implemented, and we use them in several places and for generating the documentation and make it extendable. Also, the REST ethos, so hypermedia links, actions are in our responses, not just the data. So with that, we decoupling server and clients. It's the default format JSON LG with Hydra in API platform that allow us to have that. And I suggest you look at resources on the subject about REST HOS. It's the most powerful REST level. Also, GraphQL is integrated. And basically, if we go on an operation or an API resource attribute, and we write GraphQL true, it's enough to have GraphQL ready for us. Also, the scheme.org format is supported. It's allow the SEO to be in search engines, and for example, also to Google Shopping, because Google Shopping uses the scheme.org format. Standard format are also supported, and we will see this later. API platform, it's a full framework. You can use it as Symfony by require some components, but you have also a distribution named API platform distribution. And in this distribution, you have several front-end integrations as Next, Vue, React, and more. Mercure integrations, it allows us to push real-time updates to several types of clients, JavaScript or native clients, using the HTTP protocol and server sense events. So it's an alternative to WebSockets, made also by Kevin Dunglass, and it's integrated with front-end PHP by default and in the API platform distribution. Also, as the Open API documentations, this Open API allows us to generate the API platform React admin backoffice, auto-generated, and also for the front integrations. You can see that on the API platform default demo, and it's amazing. So you have nothing to do unless some enhancement. The default modifications are automatically updated for you. A schema generator is also included. So if you have an API written in JavaScript, C#, .NET, or whatever, and you have the ability to generate RDF format, like, for example, scheme.org, XML RDF, etc. You are able to use this format with the schema generator, and all your API resources will be created using this export. So it's pretty cool to start using API platform from another API. Is it working under the hood? Let's see together now two main parts of the framework and how they are used by the framework to save our resources, and it will help you to understand how it's work and understand some features. API platform integrates the serializations from Symfony. So the Symfony serialization is often used, and it allows us to transform data structures from one format to a PHP object, and also from one format to another. So you have two main steps for that, from the format to the array. So here we are talking about decode, encode for the vice versa way, and to the array, from the array to the object. And here it's about normalizations and denormalization. After that, when a client requests a resource using an URL, a method, get, post, put, etc., to a server, there is an accept header, sometimes, not always, but yeah, if we have an accept header, the resource, the server, check on our API platform configurations if this requested format is supported, and if we can serve this format to the client. or by default, we use the first format defined in the API platform configuration, which is the default. And then the server returns the most appropriate representations that match this request. But if nothing is okay with that, nothing is matched, we are returning for 15 unsupported media type answer. For API platform, we have several possible architecture. You have the default ones, and the way I used in the demo as the crude version, so create, read, update, delete, as a rapid application development. If you want to make some proof of concept, or you have a very, very basic API, it's a good way to have one entity or model in Laravel, and at the same place, your API resource. So here, under this API resource attribute, you have all methods, so get, post, put, patch, and delete, and you can configure it if you need. But with just this attribute, your endpoints are automatically registered for you. For advanced usages, we can use, and it's recommended, to use CQS, CQRS patterns, and it's integrated in API platform with the Symfony Messenger integration, so it's easier for us to use this pattern with API platform. Also, events-oriented architecture, DDD, and so on, are possible with API platform. It's documented on the API platform documentation, and also some talks are on YouTube, and we can help you if you want to implement this architecture and patterns on your projects. About the supported default formats, the native formats that are included by default in API platform. First, we have the structured formats, which means formats that have a defined structure. So it's important for interoperability. You have the GraphQL format, the CSV format, the YAML format, the HTML format, mainly for documentation, the JSON API format, so it's a JSON structure, the JSON ILD plus Hydra format, which is the default format when we install API platform, with context attributes, ARI resources, when we have sub-resources linked between them. And it's recommended by the W3C consortium. Also, we have raw formats as the JSON, so we can have a JSON and put whatever in this JSON, and the same for the XML form. We have other formats to complete this on the patch operations. So using these formats, we have opportunity to handle patch updates with API platform by supporting basic form submissions, complex submissions, and granular edits. So for that, there is one RFC, the JSON merge patch, and the JSON API patch. And you can configure this in API platform, depending on what format you use. About error, also error formats are supported. The most famous is problem details when we work with JSON format. But you also have the Hydra error if you use JSON LG, for example, and you want to be fully compatible with that. If you want to add a format, it's possible in API platform, and it's easy because it's serialization. So for that, the first step is to create a Symfony normalizer. So it's documented in the Symfony documentations and also in the API platform documentations. Basically, it's two contracts, two interfaces to implement the normalizer interface and the denormalizer interface. Then you should create an encoder with also two interfaces, the encoder interface and the decoder interface. Then you have to configure it on your project. And when it's configured in your project on the container part and the API platform part, you can use this format everywhere, in every operation or some of them, depending of your needs, or just for some clients because they can use the accepted format. So it's okay. And the last bonus step is to share at an open source contribution if you want. It can help the community at the same time. About global configurations, we have some ways to configure the framework and also other layers, more locally on resources, components, etc. But about configurations, you can configure general info about your API, like the version of your API, the name, the default URL, some validations rules, also the supported format that you want to enable. Also about exceptions, you can write your own exceptions on your work business logic, and you can map these custom exceptions with framework exceptions and returning the right error code with this mapping. Also about the documentations and all other global configurations are supported. You have a global configuration reference documented, and it's show you all capabilities of the framework at this point. Also, you can configure your operations on top of the classes, and components are configurable on your folders, so config packages if you are in Symfony, for example. And you have a lot of extensions points pretty much everywhere in the framework to fit to your needs. So, end of the theoretic part. Let's now dive to the concrete usages and integrations of the API platform framework. We have full integrations with Symfony validation components. So we can use Symfony native assertions to assert in this contact entity. For example, that our email property is not blank, so not null, not false, not empty string, and also a valid email by following a right pattern. And under the hood, it's enough. API platform will check this, and if one of these assertions is not okay, the API will answer a 422 error code for us directly with the error format you configured before. It's also okay if you have some custom validations and you configure these custom validators and so on. There are several ways to have custom validation in Symfony and Laravel, and it's okay with API platform. So native and custom validation are supported. Standard error formats are supported, and they work together. About security, we can secure, and it's recommended, of course, our operations using the security parameter of our attributes, operation attributes, API resource attributes. And here in Symfony, we have the isGranted method, and we can add additional checks on property. Here we checking the ownership of the object, and using normalization groups and a lot of other things, we can also allow the right access for some properties, some other just for read, for example, depending of the operations. Even if I recommend to have separate objects, for example, a put book is an object just for the put operations. So it's better for following solid principles. But yeah, you can do what you want and play with groups, normalizations, context, and so on to secure your operations. And it's important. I don't know if you have been in the Rob Allen talk just before, but yeah, we have a lot of work with security in APIs. It is right, and API platform covers out of the box most of these cases, so it's good. Also, custom access control are supported. In Symfony, we talk about voter. So this class allows us to centralize all permission logic and reuse them in many places, and it's supported. We also support the Symfony configurations, the Symfony security configuration, like access control patterns and so on. So it's pretty cool to have nothing more to write on this part using API platform. Also with security, we need an authentications, and the three main authentication standards are supported using components and bundle of the ecosystem. So we can use JWT, OAuth, or OIDC in a couple of hours or days, depending of what we choose. Also, several data sources are supported. The ORM integration, so most of databases, Elasticsearch, and you can have your own data sources, your custom data sources using state provider and state processor. For the reading part, we have the get and get collections default operations, but if we want to customize this, we can use a custom state provider. Here is a simple state provider. It's a class that implements the provider interface. With this, we must implement a provide method, and then here we can read a CSV file or a fake object like that that we are creating, and then we can plug this provider on get operation. For example, here it's or get user score endpoint, and API platform is able to serve this data with that. For the persistence, if we want to create an object or delete it, modify it, this is the default operations, and state processors are the equivalents of state provider for the persistent part, and we can make a change before or after the persistence, and also we can send an email after an object is created or something like that. So it's pretty cool. I should skip that part. The pagination is provided by default. You can customize it, but it's okay by default. You can also filter resources using a lot of native filters, and some of them are new since 4.1 version. And you also have the ability to add your custom filter using the filter interface and just one method to define. And here it's the default format for your documentation, the Swagger UI interface, but you also have the redoc versions and the GraphQL interface if you are GraphQL users. Also, you can have the documentations using the other formats. And way like almost everywhere in API platform to enhance your automatic way. So here we can add a more meaningful example. And if we want to add the documentation for a currency format, a date format, we can do it here, for example. Or we can override the global configurations using here the Symfony decorator patterns. We get the default instance of the OpenAPI factory, and we replace the server list if our API is behind the reverse proxy and API platform detects the public URL incorrectly, localhost instead of a domain. Here we can override this, and so it's after that well documented everywhere. Thank you so much.